greatness is something that can be described in different ways. We can talk about it in varied tones. We can struggle giving it a concrete textbook definition, but we know it when we see it. When we look at Serena Williams, we see greatness. It shouldn't have come as big of a surprise as it did. After all, her father, Richard, said as much at the time we witnessed her sister Venus begin to display her tennis aptitude. But what was it that made her so great on the tennis court? Was it her powerful serve? Was it her forehand? Was it her range? Was it her overall athleticism? Or was it the combination of all those things? No matter your answer, she took her talents to claim the most Grand Slams of any tennis player in the Open era, as of now. With 23, no man or woman can claim to have as many, and only one player, Mark Record, with 24, can claim having more Grand Slams all time than her. Serena had her detractors, and they still exist today. In fact, a national media sports analyst boldly said that Serena isn't the greatest female tennis player of all time, and this was stated after her swan song at this year's US Open. Many agreed by saying that greats of the past like Martina Navratilova, Chris Evert, Steffi Graf, and even Monica Seles are considered higher in esteem than the woman who was born in Saginaw and grew up in Southern California. It leads someone to ask the question, is it because Serena never looked the part, acted the part, played the part, that she wasn't accepted as great in the tennis world? I believe you have to ask the question to the tennis players who lost to her in Grand Slam finals. The list is varied and lengthy. You have to ask Martina Hingis, Lindsay Davenport, Maria Sharapova, Helena Yakovic, Dinara Safina, Justine Enne, Vera Zvonareva, Aniska Wadwanska, Victoria Azarenka, Caroline Wozniacki, Lucy Safarova, Gabine Muguruza, and Angelique Kerber. Who were they? They are the women who were runner-up to Serena Williams when she took her Grand Slam trophies. Some of them lost more than once to her in the finals, like Maria Sharapova, Victoria Azarenka. And then there's the woman Serena has defeated more than any other to hoist Grand Slam trophies in the air. And that woman is probably her best friend, the one who knows her game and the person better than anybody else. Venus. There were many charges of collusion whenever those two played in Grand Slam finals, remarking how horrible in quality the matches were between those two. To me, that was put to rest when the two squared off to determine who was going to win the 2003 Australian Open. They fought for Grand Slams before, and they would fight for more of them after. However, this was a grueling test of wills that both women put on display. If there were any doubts about these women grooving the situation for a certain woman to win the match, it was all obliterated with this Grand Slam final right here. Serena is special from the standpoint she won a Serena Slam, claiming the French Open, Wimbledon, the US Open, and the Australian Open in succession within one calendar year. And then, at the tender age of 21, she wasn't in full control of her power, her athleticism, and her game yet. Her greatest time of ruling the tennis world came a full 10 years later. At an age when the tennis world would say, you're old, you're over the hill, the game has passed you by, you gotta look for your successors now, Serena began a reign only equaled by the great Steffi Graf in being the world's #1 tennis player for a record 186 consecutive weeks, from mid-February 2013 to the end of US Open, September 11th, 2016. To put that run in perspective, Martina Navratilova ruled the tennis world from June of 1982 to June of 1985. She was on top of the sport for exactly 3 years. Both Graf and Serena eclipsed her by 7 months. Serena's start of that reign was at the old age of 31. By then, she became a fashion icon, as an outfit was banned by the French Open for her to wear. She became a role model for many black women, and a source of fear for those who weren't. She became a go-to punchline for rappers to spit whenever they wanted to display someone having greatness for a long period of time. Many were into her private life as she dated, being the world's #1 women's player, and got a ton of props, along with some criticism, when she married the co-founder of Reddit, Alexis Ohanian. She now has a daughter named Olympia, and that came with a lot of complications. She had to receive an emergency C-section after it was found Olympia's heart rate dropped during labor. Serena herself suffered a pulmonary embolism and later postpartum depression after giving birth to her daughter. All of that, and the champion spirit which courses through her veins, got her back onto the court. Even though she never won a Grand Slam after that, she did go on to play in many Grand Slam finals though. Just her competitive drive is something to behold. I can name the many Grand Slam championships she's won that's impressed me, but there's only one which stands out among the rest: the 2017 Australian Open. The less impressive feat of the two was that she became the queen once again after blowing through the tournament, not losing a set. The more impressive feat of the two was that Serena did this while being 7 and 8 weeks pregnant. There is no question about the following statements. There has been no American tennis player, man or woman, who has achieved as much as Serena Williams. There has been no women's tennis player who has earned as much money as she has on the tour. There has been no American tennis player who has embraced being part of the culture as much as Serena has. Now, almost at the tender age of 41, playing professionally just shy of 27 years, I believe Serena Jamaica Williams has earned her time of enjoying life away from the sport that gave her the fame, notoriety, and wealth she's accrued over this time. The most beautiful part about this story is Serena can now begin living her best life right now. And with all things considered, she's lived a very charmed existence already. She now can traverse the earth free of any obligation for whether she's the greatest of all time in your mind or not. Serena Williams is one of the most celebrated athletes, male or female, in the 21st century. No dispute is necessary.